All new today.
You don't care who you hurt.
The mother of all mother-in-laws.
Downright diabolical.
Janice threatened to have me killed on more than one occasion. She pointed her finger at me and pulled the trigger.
Now, they've come to Dr. Phil to face off.
You have said I could kill you. Did you take a swing at her?
They are lying through their teeth.
Do you think your mother's a liar?
Yes, I do.
You're such a wuss.
Call my husband a wuss on television? Go ahead, hit me now. It'd be worth it. You want to know who's a pitiful mother? You are. You are the worst mother I have ever seen.
I have been made to look like a fool.
Nobody has to make you look like a fool. You're a pro.
She's controlling you like a marionette. Just get away from her. Get her out of your life. Coming up. Let's do it. I want you to get excited about your life.
Here we go.
Stand by, camera, set.
If you're going to talk to me, you're going to have to be honest.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Showtime. This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Stand by, A, and roll A. Check in. Go, Dr. Phil. Manipulative, violent, controlling, downright diabolical. These are some of the words our guests have to describe their mother-in-laws. Now, Anna Laura says her mother-in-law Janice hates her so much she's taken a swing at her and has threatened to hire someone to kill her. Take a look.
I filed for divorce from Morgan because my mother-in-law is the other woman in my husband's life. Janice has threatened to kill me or have me killed on more than one occasion.
I think she exhibits sociopathic behavior. She lies.
She told me, I will ruin your marriage, I will take away your children.
Anna Laura and my mother are both very strong-willed women, and it's not pretty when the two of them get together. Anna Laura and I have been married now for 6 years.
When Morgan and I met, I knew that he already had 2 children from our previous marriage. They are both special needs. I've been committed to them from day one.
I would not have chosen somebody like Anna Laura for Morgan. I said, I don't think she's very attractive. She's much older than you. She's heavy.
Janice never liked me from day one.
Early on, I just tried to be neutral.
I would describe my mother-in-law as abusive, overbearing, diabolical, and even violent.
I don't have a lot of problems with other people, and I don't know why I have problems with her.
She has to have control over everything. So we're supposed to have less of a marriage, less of a family, because that makes her happy. She's constantly threatening to take our children away. She calls 12 to 15 times a day.
My mother is very much a stalker.
She will drive around the neighborhood. A car pulls up to the driveway. I assumed it was my husband. The car didn't pull in. I looked up, and there's my mother-in-law, and she pointed her finger at me and pulled the trigger.
She would come over all the time. She'd just walk right in if the door was unlocked.
We were in the bedroom, and the socks and shoes were coming off. We were kissing. We were very physically intimate. All of a sudden, the door pops open, and in walks my mother-in-law.
It's kind of creepy.
My mother-in-law tried to hit me in my own home, so I got a domestic violence order against her.
I didn't hit her. She's 5'8", I'm 5'1".
It's like there's this competition that she's created between the two of us. I think my husband is a very reluctant mama's boy. She has made comments to him like, you promised me that you would never let a girl come between us.
I really think that my mother has an unnatural obsession with me. I'm very much a surrogate husband to her.
He has to decide, do I want a wife or do I want a semi-incestuous relationship with my mother?
There's a large part of me that really does feel ashamed and embarrassed by the fact that I've allowed my mother to hold this much sway over me.
I can't reconcile as long as there are too many people in the marriage. Dr. Phil, my marriage is doomed. Can you help us?
Well, as you saw in the tape piece, Anna Laura has gotten a restraining order against her mother-in-law, Janice, and the two women haven't been in the same room in over a year. Now, Anna Laura has agreed to appear with Janice for the purpose of today's show. True?
Correct.
But you do have a restraining order that keeps Janice away from you
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet away from you. Tell us again why you think you need that protection from her, because that's a physical restraining order primarily. Why?
She has made it clear that she will do anything to get her son and her grandchildren to leave me and to move back home with her. Mm-hmm. Relentless is the adjective I would use.
Okay. Janice, you do want rid of her, correct?
No, sir. If my son chooses to stay married to her, that's his choice.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well,
I don't like her at all. Do I have to like her? I don't like her.
No, but are you saying that you're not trying to run her off?
I'm not trying to run her off. No. Why would I want to run her off? I made that statement one time. I did say one time I'd run her out of town, but.
Well, that's a clue.
You know.
Because let me just tell you what she says. You said, you just tell me whether it's true or not. She says that you have said to her, "You are not good enough for my son." They say that you have said, "I will ruin you. Do you hear me? I will break up your marriage, take away your kids, destroy your career, and run you out of this town."
I believe I did say that, yes, at one point.
Okay, so
I did.
You did say that.
But
Hence my question, you trying to run her off, and you looked at me like, well, of course not.
Not at this point, I'm not. I don't really care.
Did you say to Anna Laura, "I don't want my granddaughter to be fat like you"?
No, I did not.
Did she say that?
More than once. She's also said it to my daughter. She's made comments about her developing breast, about her rear end. You know, my daughter is very well developed for her age. It's very embarrassing for her to have that kind of attention.
Mm-hmm. And this one I just have to ask you about. Quote, "I could kill you. I could have you killed. I'll win one way or another. You'll regret the day you came up against me. There's nobody big enough to stop me."
No, sir. Do I look like that kind of imposing kind of person that I would do that?
I don't know that you'd do it, but I'm curious as to whether you said it.
No, sir, I did not say it.
Okay.
I didn't.
Did she say that? I mean, you told us that in quotes.
Correct.
So, Morgan, where are you in all of this?
Really, for a long time, I was in the middle of all this. I really didn't take a side. I didn't pick the side I really should have, which is my wife's, and just put my foot down much earlier. But right now, I'm standing here with her, and I am trying my best to save our marriage.
And right now, the marriage is in trouble, correct?
I have filed for divorce.
You filed for divorce, but yet the two of you are still living together, and you both want to reconcile this, or you don't?
I have very mixed emotions. I had a very happy life at one time. I love my children. I'm not going to abandon my children. I'm not going to abandon Morgan, but I cannot live constant stress and drama 24/7. I cannot do it anymore.
Well, this seems like a matter of contradictions here, because you say, I'm not going to abandon Morgan, but yet I filed divorce on him. I love my children, but yet you've placed them in foster care.
No, I didn't. I'm not the custodial
No, I'm not
parent.
saying you. I'm saying as a couple here. I'm curious about where all of this is. Let me take a break here. Next, Janice allegedly calls Anna Laura a, quote, piss-poor excuse for a wife. We'll talk to the man in the middle and find out where Morgan comes down on all this and whether there's some peace to be had here. We'll be right back.
My mother-in-law made a comment that her husband had been sharpening knives and he had discussed gutting both of us.
I thought that was the most incredible thing I had ever heard. My husband and I just looked at one another in disbelief.
peeks in the windows. She's looked in the trash. She will drive around the neighborhood.
I have never stalked anybody. Why on earth would you do that? That's a sign of a sick mind.
Well, we're talking with mother-in-laws that are accused of destroying their children's marriages. Now, we're here with Anna Laura, who says she's so frightened of her mother-in-law, Janice, that she went as far as to get a restraining order against her. Now, you know, I'm always curious about this because, I've been doing this for a lot of years. And I'm always wondering how and why people in a family, which is such a core unit in our lives, manage themselves into this kind of situation and predicament. I talked about a lot of the things that you had allegedly said to and about her. Have you said to her, you have an incestuous relationship with your son?
Yes.
You are not welcome in my house, you short
That was after she took the swing at me, and I blocked it.
Would that be a yes?
That's a yes.
Okay.
Yes,
and this was
absolutely.
after she took a swing at you?
Yes.
Okay.
And then claimed the next day that she didn't remember.
Did you take a swing at her?
No,
You didn't take a swing at her?
no.
Why do you reckon she'd say something like that?
Well, I don't know. She lies, I guess. Wouldn't you say she lied?
Do you think
That-
your
that's
mother's? Do you
just
think your
flat
mother's a
lie.
liar?
Yes, I do.
You do.
I do.
So you two aren't getting along real well, you and Morgan.
I haven't talked to Morgan in probably a year, and I haven't talked to her since we got the restraining order. Haven't seen either one of them.
That's not true, Dr. Phil.
What is true?
She still drives through our neighborhood despite the 1,000 feet. The day that my husband had a car accident last month, you came down our street. I saw you. He met you in the vehicle.
Is that true or false?
Probably not. I have not been down their street that I know about in a long time. I own a house in that neighborhood, two blocks
she
over.
purchased after the 1,000-foot restraining order.
Okay, I want to
Wait,
get.
3 blocks over.
I want to get one thing we
It's
can
right
agree
across
on
the
here.
street from my children's school. That's not 1,000 feet.
My mother
You
lives in
can't
it.
read.
We bought a home for my mother to live in.
Couldn't buy one anywhere else in the county.
You had a car accident
Yes.
within 1,000 feet of your house?
No, Dr. Phil. It was off a way, but I was on my way home in a rental car, and she was coming up our street, and I saw her sitting there. Had to kind of move around her so I can get into our driveway.
Okay. And you're sure?
I'm absolutely sure.
It was your mother? I guess old boy knows mother.
I'm pretty sure I do, yes.
Yeah. Were you there or not?
No, sir. I was not there. You know what? Our town is like 6 blocks long. We have 3 red lights. Is there a way to avoid these 2 people?
That wasn't the
there
question.
is.
The
Stay
question
out of
was
my
the question
neighborhood.
was were you parked outside their house?
No.
Where he had to pull
Parked?
around
No,
you? Well,
no,
parked.
no.
I don't want to play word games. He did not see you. He's lying.
I don't know if he saw me, but he didn't see me in front
Well,
of
you
his
do
house.
know if he saw you in front of his house. He says he saw you in front of his house. He had to pull around you get in the driveway.
He did not.
He did not.
He did not see
Did
me in
he
front
see
of his
her on the street? Ask her that. I mean, I've been down this road with her, Dr. Phil. She will spin things to make someone else look negative and spin things so that she technically isn't lying.
Okay. You don't feel that your mother is a constructive influence in your marriage, correct?
That's correct.
Do you feel she's a constructive influence in your life?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you feel then that I've often said good fences make good neighbors, and sometimes, sadly, within a family, good fences have to be erected as well. You haven't seen your mother in a year, and you're divorcing him because of the stress that's brought on by the dynamic in this family?
If I may, Dr. Phil, in the past, I did such a poor job at standing up to my mother and defending Anna Laura and taking care of her and being the type of husband she needed to be, that by the time I did, it's probably too little too late. And with the fact that she and my father are still dragging us to court, we're still having to deal with all kinds of legal issues with them, this just will not get out of our faces, and I don't see how she can even begin to try to forgive me if she can't get away from it.
Are you still engaging them legally?
We file for visitation with our grandchildren, and the suit has to be with social services because Morgan no longer has custody of his children. Right. He does not have custody.
So you have to refile with social services?
Yes.
Coming up, is there anything this family can do to at least agree on something that's truthful and find a way to get along? We'll be right back.
I do believe that my mom wanted us to get a divorce. However, the other part of what my mom wants is for me to move into her house, and that's just not going to happen.
Across this great country, from coast to coast, you've told me about the crossroads we're facing. That's exactly why I wrote We've Got Issues, How You Can Stand Strong for America's Soul and Sanity. This book isn't just a conversation starter. It's a roadmap for standing strong in the face of adversity, for embracing our core values when they're needed most. We're talking about real strategies for real people dealing with real issues, from navigating the complexities of today's polarized world to fortifying our families. And I set forth in the book 10 principles that I think are critical for a healthy society. This is not about politics. I'm not a politician, don't want to be a politician, don't know enough about politics to talk about it. But I talk about every angle of life as we know it, from family and relationships to the burning issues that are shaping our world today. We've got issues, how you can stand strong for America's soul and sanity. And you'll find it anywhere books are sold. It's about time we start addressing what truly matters. I want to talk to you today about family. I believe family is the most important social unit in our world, obviously. But what I really want to talk about is not just the immediate family. I want to talk about extended family. It is so very important. It provides support, love. It gives your children an opportunity to understand that there's someone besides mom and dad that they can trust, that they can be with. They learn to go from their base and recognize that there are places in the world that are okay and that they can do things without mom and dad right there. Now, it's been said that good fences make good neighbors, and sometimes you have to have good fences within a family as well. The truth about an extended family is that sometimes it's hard for grandma and grandpa to recognize that they're no longer the ones in control. Take care of your nuclear family, but embrace the extended family.
Morgan told me that he has been in prison for as long as he's been alive, that his mother is the warden, and that she never lets him get far away.
Well, today we're talking to people who say they are at war with their in-laws. Now, Anna Laura says her mother-in-law Janice is forcing Morgan to choose between the two of them. Now, she claims Janice has threatened to ruin her, break up her marriage, and calls her old, fat, and lazy. Not an endearing way to get along within a family, clearly. Now, I guess you say that you believe that your mother has had an unhealthy connection and relationship to you, and that for a period of time you bought into it and participated in it.
That's correct.
That you kind of felt like you were a surrogate husband, that you were too connected with her.
That's correct.
You shared information with her about your wife. You would talk about your frustrations. You would go over there and kind of...
Yes, I've done that.
In the past, not now, but in the past. That, of course, did not sit well with you, that he's over talking about you to somebody that's your declared enemy.
I had no problem with him talking to a relative when you're asking for guidance. And the first year that we were married, she pretended to be my friend. She pretended that everything was wonderful, and we used to do activities together. I thought she was great. Until, there would be little things that would happen. Like one day I said to her, Morgan has got to start helping me around the house with the kids. The house is completely out of control. I can't do it all in work. When he came home, the story was, I called him a lazy slob.
Mm-hmm. What is your position?
That's not true.
I assumed as much. I assumed that dog wasn't going to hunt over here.
No, that dog ain't going to hunt nowhere.
Sadly, Mom, you did. That's exactly what you
Pardon,
told me.
you're such a wuss. I did it one time. I have
There
to.
you go, Dr. Phil. There you go. There's your defining moment. She just called her son a wuss on national television. This is your flesh and blood. You want to know who's a pitiful mother? You are. You are the worst mother I have ever seen. You are the worst grandmother. Call my husband a wuss on television? Take another swing at me. Go ahead. I'll let you hit me now. It'd be worth it. No one calls my husband a name.
You don't sound like somebody that wants to divorce him.
I love my husband, but Dr. Phil, my sister-in-law is new to the family. She pulled me aside one day, and she was the person who said, the emperor's buck naked. She said, this marriage is killing you. It's destroying your health. You've been in pain for years. You're going to either have to save yourself or you're going to die trying to save a marriage.
Tell me why you're smiling so much.
Because this is the most incredible thing I have ever heard in my life. I mean, it is just incredibly absurd. All these things that they're telling, it's like somebody sat down and wrote this ridiculous book.
You admitted to a half a dozen of them.
Such as? Oh, talking
you
to
aren't
her
good
like
enough
that?
for my husband. I'll ruin you. Do you hear me? I'll break up your marriage. I'll take away your kids.
I never said she wasn't good enough. Oh, no, I never said that one. You have a whole list of things, and some of them are right and some of them aren't.
Well, if just the ones that are right, don't you think you have some ownership into the problems of this relationship?
I do.
What are they? Tell me what your ownership is.
I talked about her behind her back. We've never actually talked together as people. The fact
No, you just say different things to my face. You don't have the backbone to say to me what you really feel. Because if you told me in the beginning, I don't like you, I wouldn't have gone out to your house. I wouldn't have gone to lunch with you. I wouldn't have shopped with you. We would have kept a mutual difference.
If I had not liked you, I would not have.
You don't do anything without a plan. Your plan from the beginning was to be friends with me, to use it to break us up. Diabolical.
All right. Listen, you don't think much of her, do you?
She disgusts me.
She disgusts you. Okay, then why do you give her the power to totally erode your marriage, your family, your health, your peace? If that is so true, if everything you say is true, and I'm not saying it's all true, but I'm just saying this for argument's sake with her. I totally get that you don't agree. But if that's true, if you think this is a disgusting person that has evil intent and just wants the worst for you, why would you give her the power to erode your life and your health and your peace and your marriage? Why wouldn't you just say, look, I'm disengaging here.
That's
you can just go out and spit in the ocean or something, because you're not going to change my life. Pick up and move if you have to. Go somewhere. Just get away from her. Get her out of your life.
Wait a minute. I have a domestic violence order against her that if the state we live in would enforce it, I should be able to live 2 doors up from my 75-year-old mother who is recovering from hip replacement.
Move her with you.
I'm not taking, wait a minute, we're saying that she should get to stay and do what she wants to do.
No. Listen, it's not about being right.
I should disrupt my mother,
it's not,
my family.
Not fair. That's not, you're exactly right. That's not fair. But this isn't about being right. It's about being successful. And you can't make her move. You can't make her move. And if you can handle it in town, then handle it in town. And if you see her sitting outside your house, have her arrested. About 3rd, 4th time, they'll put her under the jail. You know, they'll just lock her up and keep her out there.
They don't want to arrest her.
And I know you don't want your mother arrested in a jail, but
actually, Dr. Phil, I've called the police and reported it myself. And I went to the courthouse and I talked to 2 law enforcement officers and said, look, if that were me doing that to Anna Laura with this restraining order in place, y'all would have thumped my head on the car putting me in. Why can't you go do something about her?
Dr. Phil.
Okay, I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to tell you what I think you need to do as the man, as the husband, as the leader of this family. I'm going to tell you what I think you need to do when we come back. We'll be right back.
I have said things around town about Aunt Laura. It's a small town. That she was bitchy, overbearing, and self-centered. I am a very mouthy person sometimes. And of course, it got back to her.
We're talking to a family in turmoil about mother-in-laws and their alleged behavior. Now, I don't care what the situation is. There's two sides. There's two sides to this. You got a side, you got a side. And I fully understand that. But what I'm looking at here is a situation where you two currently have divorce proceedings rolling down the track.
Correct.
You're stressed out. This is bugging you. You're stressed out. It's bugging you. You guys are pointing at her, and you're
she's
sitting.
happy as a clam.
and-
Look at her face.
Well, that's
She's
because
in heaven.
that's because she's controlling you like a marionette. It's like she's poking you with a stick. She wants you gone, and she's getting what she wants.
And I'm not going anywhere.
If that you filed for divorce.
He still lives in my home. I'm not throwing him out in the street.
So you just sort of
He
filed
doesn't
for
make
divorce?
enough money to get a home and live somewhere else. I'm not throwing him out in the street.
Morgan,
Yes, Dr. Phil.
this is your mother. She, as far as this relationship is concerned, is your responsibility. It's your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to fix this. It's your responsibility. And if that means cutting off contact, then you got to cut off contact. If it means you have to enforce the law, you have to enforce the law. But the point is going to come where you're going to have to do something to say, this is my family. I will not let my mother, aunt, uncle, friends, anybody else come in and create problems in my relationship. You need to let this woman know that, yes, you did make mistakes. You do not have divided loyalty. You are committed to this union. You are committed to parenting your children. You are committed to doing the things that you have to do as a man. And that is your job to step up and do that. And sadly, if that means that you two have managed this relationship into the ditch where they believe you to be toxic, and you have to acknowledge that you have taken some really bad steps in this situation, true?
I have taken bad steps, but they are lying through their teeth.
Okay, hold on. If just the things you say you did are true, those are violations that are not acceptable in a family dynamic.
That was very, very, that's very tawdry behavior.
That's what?
That's very bad behavior. Yes, it was very bad behavior, but nowhere near what they have done to me. I've been embarrassed. I've been drug into court. They have said...
You keep suing us. You're the one taking us to court.
Okay,
No, that's not true. They've taken me to court They took me to court.
For violating a domestic violence order.
And what happened?
Keep yourself in your side of the town.
What happened?
Stay away from my family, stay away from my wife. And Mom, if you ever want to have a hope, and I mean a small hope, of ever reestablishing a relationship with me, you're going to have to drop the lawsuit. It's getting ridiculous. There's no point that you should ever do this to us.
It's hurting your grandchildren. You don't care who you hurt.
May I finish? These people took me to court and said that I violated the order. There was absolutely no proof. The judge pointed their finger at her when she told her that I was trying to hire somebody to kill her. I don't know anybody like that, by the way.
You claim you do. You claim you have relatives who would do it for
violence
free.
order, Mom.
That's pretty much a given when you charge somebody with doing something.
That's not true. She doesn't normally give
The reason they did it
like
was
that.
because when I got up in court, I told her that I thought she was nuts, and I still think she's nuts. Now, if he wants to
I'm
live
not the
with
one
her,
with the DVO against me.
that's fine.
I'm not the one
But
whose son won't
they
speak
have
to
taken
her.
me to court 3 times. This is getting to be really old.
Keep your hands to yourself.
What can you do to change this?
I don't know what I could do to change it because
Stay
I'm
away
not the
from
one.
us.
I'm staying away from you.
Mom, you're driving down the street in front of my house.
I
That's
am
not
not.
staying
Bought a
away
house
from
in
us.
our
Prove
neighborhood.
it.
You bought a house in our neighborhood.
No, sir.
Your house
I'm
is
telling
across
you,
the
this
street
town
from
is
my children's
5 blocks
school.
wide. I bought a house because my mother lived in the
You
country.
couldn't buy her a house
She's
anywhere
84
else but
years
my
old.
neighborhood.
She's 84 years old. I bought the house I found, and the children aren't going to school there.
They were when
They
you
were
bought
when you
the
bought the
house.
house. That's why we had to get them away from you.
Settle down.
Okay.
Okay. Next, you're going to find out where I stand on this issue. Maybe. We'll be right back.
To purchase tapes or transcripts of your favorite Dr. Phil show, log on to drphil.com or call 866-4-Dr. Phil. That's 866-437-7445.